Hey guys, back again. So in this video, let's actually install ng add angular fire. So let's add using the schematics angular fire. So I expect this to take not too much. Let's wait for this. Okay, it's installing. Nice. So let's minimize that and let's actually close all this so we can focus. I think is close others. Well, no time to figure it out. Okay, so let's see. So that is going to install, and what we're going to do now is let me just grab my is this one, and let me just show you a few things while that is being installed. So far inside the service, you can see we have this get, this add, update, and remove, which are going to be functions that allow us to manage the state. So you can see we have this return this HTTP get. So this is managing a post model as an or an array of posts. So we have this HTTPS API on where you will need to add your call to the server in case you're using Node.js or Python, Flask, Django, whatever. So the pipe is going to grab the entities and just set those entities to be inside the store, okay? And that is going to be it. So we're going to handle this a little different, and we will need to create actually, let's see how this, okay, let's see. So we will need to create actually a new file. So just let me go back, and I have a ton of things open right now, sorry. So we will need to add a new folder inside app, which is going to be libraries. And inside these libraries, we're going to add a new file, which is going to call sync collection. Again, all this is being done by hand, not by the because there's again a module that is going to sync the collection by automatically, so you can install that, but we're going to just use this by hand because we need to understand what is going on. So well, this is going to take a bit. Let's actually start, even though we don't have the let me go to app component that app module.ts. I've been working a ton right now with Vue.js, so I'm kind of lost with this. So if you are interested in Vue.js, we're going to see that in the channel. Actually, I'm not a big fan of Vue.js, but there are plenty of jobs out there that require you Vue.js, and you know, it's going to be helpful for the people that are freelancing, myself included. So that's why I'm checking that. Also with Vuex, that is state handling or state management. So you can see this could take a bit. So we're going to build on top of that. So we're just not going to wait for that. So what I'm going to do now is that, as I said, we don't have anything about Firebase here. We're going to import this, and we're not going to work here inside this because what we're going to do is to wait for this to be installed because it's going to change the app.module.ts. So we're going to use the Angular Firestore collection. I was going to make it bigger, but I think you can see this, right? Angular Firestore collection from Angular Fire Firestore in case or when Angular Fire gets installed. And since we already have the Datura Akita, we're going to do the next. We're going to import the entity store with transaction using the Datura Akita. So in this file, what we're going to do is to check for the actions that we are receiving, and according to those actions, make the changes in the state that are required. Okay, so This is not by me. This is for by other person that actually implemented this, and I will leave the link there. But he didn't went, or he didn't go. Sorry, but English there. He didn't go far with that, so that's why I'm going a little, the extra mile with this. So, but this is in fact not my code, it's someone else's. So it's just my job to share the things, the interesting things that are going on for you to understand all how you can manage different properties inside your application and you don't get stuck. So that's actually my job here on YouTube. So we're going to use the Angular Firestore collection, which is now seems to be okay. What project do I want to work with? So I don't have a project right now. What could I do is to override what it's going to do, because I think it's going to add us. I actually forgot about this. So I have this Laravel Firebase, which I don't want to use, but let's actually cancel that. Okay. So we have this in collection, and we will worry about that later. Sorry, I forgot about Firebase. I will need to we will need to go to Firebase and do that. So all this happens all the time, so don't worry too much about that. So we have this collection, Angular Firestore collection, and we actually need to give this type. So the store is going to be an entity store, and we're going to pass right now any for the next values or parameters. So right now we're going to create this new function. So let's just focus on this update store, and we're going to take the actions here as a parameter, and we're going to check if we receive an action. I'm using again the binding from console font. Okay, so that's why you can see this symbol, which is three equal signs together. So yeah, so actions and length is equal to 0, and we're going to say store that set loading false and return. So that's it. So we're going to just move out of this function if we don't have any action. And now we're going to say for constant action of actions. So if we receive an action, so we're going to loop through that. We're going to receive constant ID, the ID of what is going to be passed by the payload, that document, that ID, and you can see that this is actually the ID that is going to come from the document inside Firebase. So constant entity is going to be equals to action that payload that data as a function. So this is the data that is going to come from Firebase. Now we're going to use a switch. I don't like how well, let's say switch, and we're going to check the action type, and here we're going to say case added. In case we add something, we're going to say store that add. Remember that we have these functions, and we're going to say add the ID with the entity, and we need to break. So the case of removed, we're going to say store that remove. We're going to grab the remove function from the store, and we're going to break. And with case modified, this is a string. We are just going to say store. No, I need indentation here. Store that update, and since the update requires the ID, that is what we're going to pass, and the entity that is going to set the new values. So far so good. Let's actually do that. And okay, so we now are going to return here. Let me scroll down a little bit. Return the collection that state changes. So we're going to check, as I said, for the changes. So we're going to pipe this, and using the transaction that is going to check and dispatch the action needed, we're going to say update store. If I can type correctly, of course. Okay. So again, what this is going to do is check for the actions and dispatch the correct action using the data that is going to pass through. Okay, that's it about this, and this is going to sync the changes that we make with the store and the collections from Firebase. So we have the library, and we will need, let me just go to app module.ts. And you know, the bad thing about moving from one technology to another is that you have that last technology fresh in your head, and it's kind of, you know, I've been working with Angular a ton, so let me just copy all this. So I know where to go, but Vue right now in my head is messing things up. So we have this, and even though we didn't need the router and the dev tools, but later maybe we'll see what the router store is going to do. But right now we're not going to focus about that. It got installed. Okay, I installed that. So, but we're not going to use it. So what we're going to do now is add. Let me just make this bigger. So the HTTP client module, the reactive forms, which we already have in a module, but it wasn't added inside the app module.ts, which is the main module. So Angular Fire module, which is already installed, and the Firestore module, because we need to use the modules, the storage bucket, and the storage module. Okay, so let's save this, and we will need, or I will need to go, just give me a second, to firebase.google.com, and they change again how you're going to create your projects. So it's going to allow me. Yeah, it's going to allow me. Okay. So what the hell? Okay. So we're going to call this Akita Firebase YouTube. So I don't okay, Google Analytics, we don't need that. Create project. So let's wait for this, and we will need to go inside our environments and set the object that they are going to give us. So let's actually move out of there and go to environments, and we will need to set our object with all the credentials there. So project is ready, continue. Okay, so it redirects me there, nice. So we are using a Spark plan, so that is free, and we need to actually set up a database. Man, I haven't worked with Firebase in a ton. I've been working with Mongo and Node.js. So we create a new Firestore. We start with the test mode. Next. And US Central, I think is fine. you are going to use the location that is closer to you. Okay. So yeah, I haven't worked with Angular Firebase. I mean, with Firebase lately. So this project has been sitting there like 5 months already, or 6 months. So yeah, we need to wait for this. That's a bummer. But okay, we have this. Nice. We need to go to storage and we need to set up our storage. Okay, start. Nice. And yes, it's going to use the same location. So this is in Spanish. In order to set it to English, we need to change the URL, but well, I can't remember how it was. It's using my local settings, so that's why it's checking is in Spanish, kinda, because you can see that this is in English, okay, but you know, Google. So yeah, so far we have everything. We have the project, and we need to go to project configurations, and we need to create a new application. Okay, so this is kind of one more step that we need to do. It's been there for so long also, so this is not new. So we need to say Firebase Akita YouTube, and you can set hosting, but we're going to skip that. We can actually do it with the schematics. So register application, and they give us all this. So let's save this. Let's go to the environments, and we need to add a new Firebase object. So this is how it's going to look. So let's save this, copy that, and go to production because we want this also in production, and paste it and save it. So we're going to close this. Now we have this in the app module.ts, and let me just copy all that. So these four, just add them here. Okay, so reactive forms module, sorry, let me just make this bigger. I think this is going to help you a little bit more. Reactive forms module, Angular faster module, Angular faster storage module, and initialize our environment, I mean our Firebase project using the Firebase object inside the environment. And we also need, we no, we don't need HTTP client, but well, let's add it in case we want to use that later. I don't know, but we don't need that because Firebase is going to take care of that. And we need to set our storage bucket that is inside providers. Let me just copy this, and I'm going to copy that with my other provider, with my other value. So I think I can add a comma there, right? So provide storage bucket, we will see this. Oh yeah, because I set the providers for that. Well, let's just keep that, and this is going to be for Firebase. So we're going to remove this. Well, not everything, sorry. We're going to just remove this, and we can actually go to Firebase, or we can just go back to the environments and grab our storage bucket, copy that. That's why we set up that, and save it, paste it and save it. Okay, so you can see we have this. Okay, actually let's go to view, word wrap, and we have the storage bucket value, which is here, and the GS, let me make this bigger, GS Akita Firebase, which is a storage bucket. So we save that, and let's say ng serve, and let's see if we don't have any error. So as I said, we might run into some errors, but I don't expect them to be hard to troubleshoot. So yeah, let's wait for this. Okay, Actually, that should be here. So let's wait for this to be done. So far we are 20 minutes in, okay? And we will see, 50%, come on, come on. And we can just go to the console here. If you are using a different, you can just go to here, project configuration, which is on where it redirected us. And here you can see the Firebase, and you can just grab your configuration. You can add another applications or simply use the configuration that another application is using. So you can actually do that. And Akita Firebase. Okay, so far we don't have any problem, and in the next video we're going to work now with Firebase and start creating our components, which is going to be a kind of long course. Okay, I should have said that before, but it's going to be a kind of a long course for some things that we need to take care of. Akita, we need to take care of how Akita forgets about information. Okay, so it's is set to work with SPAs, but in some cases we need to refresh the application so Akita forgets about the data, and we need to set the data once again. And it's the same thing with Vuex, it's the same thing with Redux for React. So once we know how to handle our state, we will move, or we will be able to move to other state management handlers and handle in a way the same errors. Okay, so that's it for this one, and see you in the next one.